Hi guys, and welcome to this course on Learn DevOps Kubernetes Deployment by kops and Terraform Introduction. My name is Jan and I'll be guiding you throughout this course. Well, let me introduce myself. I worked as sysadmin for more than 3 years and currently I am working as DevOps engineer, so I have 2+ more years experience, and my main responsibilities are Kubernetes deployment in AWS and on-premise as well. So let me tell you right away what this course is all about. Well, obviously this course is all about the Kubernetes, about the scheduling Docker containers inside the Kubernetes, and about the comprehensive deployment. So basically these are the 3 goals I want to achieve by this course. Well, if you go to the official Kubernetes webpage, or basically if you are reading some blog post about it, you will find the information or description like Kubernetes is mainly like the container platform or orchestration system or a microservice platform. Well, this is all true, but what it really means. So let me explain you how do I understand the Kubernetes. So if I'm thinking about the Kubernetes, I'm thinking about 2 layers, about the hardware layer and the software layer. So obviously if we are talking about the hardware layer, we are talking about the physical servers. We are going to install some software which will in fact altogether create what we call Kubernetes cluster. Then we might be using some storage, then some S3 bucket, which is really special for AWS, but there is something similar, for example, in Google Cloud and so on. And then we will be using something which is called hosted zone, and this is configurable in root 53 section. But I want to show you guys whatever you're gonna learn throughout this course about the Kubernetes, you can reuse this knowledge in some other cloud providers. Well, and then when I'm thinking about the software layer, obviously Kubernetes is about scheduling containers or the platform for scheduling containers. So I'm thinking about the Docker, about the software called Kubelet and some other piece of software. But here is the great news, guys. We are not going to set up all this hardware layer manually or the software layer manually across our servers. We are going to take an advantage of kops command. This is a binary or basically official software supported by Kubernetes, which helps us greatly to create this kind of Kubernetes cluster. You can define how many masters you want to have or how many nodes you want to have. Just by specifying one command, this awesome Kubernetes cluster can be up and running literally within 10 minutes. Then I want to explain to you guys how to use Terraform and what is it for, but there are special lectures on it, so I'm not going to deep dive into it. Well, I think if we successfully install or set up Kubernetes, that would be the time for some basic deployment. So I've decided I'm going to show you how to deploy simple Nginx web server to our newly created Kubernetes cluster. At first there will be just simple welcome to Nginx webpage, but this is not really interesting because really when you are in your job or when you are supposed to design something, you need to place some real content inside your Nginx web server, right? So like the welcome to Nginx webpage is not very useful to us. And lastly, I want to explain how to actually communicate to your Kubernetes cluster, because obviously this cluster is somewhere in the world, like somewhere in the cloud, and you are sitting somewhere in your office or at home. So the way how we are going to communicate to the Kubernetes cluster is just by installing something which is called kubectl utility or program to your basically to your PC you are doing this course from. And the piece or basically the URL or API we are going to communicate to in our case or in my case will be api.kops.devopsinuse.com. So in your case it will be different, but I have like some lectures which are explaining these things. Like the bottom line is, if your Kubernetes cluster, the hardware layer and the software layer is successfully created, So you will have this API available. So obviously in your case this API will be looking somehow else. But the point is that you are talking, like from your machine, you are talking through this kubectl command to this API. If you set up like the credentials to this newly created Kubernetes cluster correctly. Well guys, so I hope you are excited about learning all these things I have just described, and let me jump into the first lecture.